Imagine this. You just bought your dream home. You're moving boxes into your own driveway. Your kids are playing on your own lawn. Then 2 police cars pull up, lights flashing, because someone called 911 reporting you as suspicious. This happened to Darius and Monique Carter in 2023, in America, in their own home. And what happened next sparked a national conversation that we desperately needed to have. Before we dive into this story, I need to ask you something deeply personal. Have you ever worked your entire life for something, saved every dollar, sacrificed every comfort, pushed through every obstacle, only have someone question whether you actually earned it the moment you achieved it? If you felt that, drop a comment right now, because Darius and Monique Carter know that feeling all too well. Darius Carter was a veteran firefighter with 15 years on the force. The kind of man who runs into burning buildings when everyone else is running out. The kind of man who saved lives in the very community he was about to call home. Monique was a registered nurse working overnight shifts at Charlotte Memorial Hospital, caring for patients in their most vulnerable moments. Together, they'd spent 7 years saving for a down payment, checking their credit scores, cutting every corner, delaying every vacation. Their daughter was 10. Their son was 7. And Darius and Monique wanted to give them what they'd never had growing up: a safe neighborhood, good schools, a backyard where they could play without worry. They wanted stability. They wanted the American dream. When they finally got the keys to their home in Willow Creek Estates, a quiet gated community outside Charlotte with tree-lined streets and manicured lawns, Monique cried. Not sad tears, joy tears. The kind that come when you realize you actually made it. They took family photos on the front porch. Their kids ran through the empty rooms picking out bedrooms. This was it. They'd arrived. This wasn't just a house. It was proof that hard work pays off. It was validation. It was hope made real. That feeling lasted exactly 48 hours. Saturday morning, the first weekend in their new home. Darius was unloading boxes from a moving truck, while Monique organized the garage. Their daughter was drawing with chalk on the driveway. Their son was kicking a soccer ball on the lawn. The sun was shining. It was perfect. Then Clifford Barnes walked over. Barnes was the HOA president, mid-50s, dressed in golf attire, wearing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He had that practiced friendliness that people use when they're about to say something they know is wrong, but plan to say anyway. "Morning," he said, approaching Darius. "Are you folks here to help with the landscaping?" Darius straightened up, wiping sweat from his forehead. The question hung in the air. Not welcome to the neighborhood. Not can I help you move in? Just an assumption. A black family unloading furniture must be hired help. Couldn't possibly be the new owners. Darius kept his voice calm. 15 years as a firefighter had taught him how to stay composed in situations where other people lost control. "No, sir. We're the new homeowners. Just moved in yesterday." Barnes's smile froze. He didn't apologize. Didn't laugh it off as a misunderstanding. Didn't say, "A wonderful welcome." He just nodded once, turned around, and walked away without another word. Monique had heard the entire exchange from the garage. She came out and put her hand on Darius's shoulder. They didn't need to say anything. They both knew exactly what had just happened. Their daughter looked up from her chalk drawings. "Daddy, was that man nice?" "He's learning to be..." "Sweetheart," Darius replied. But in 2023, owning a home while black still required proof. 20 minutes later, they heard the sirens. 2 police cars pulled into the driveway, lights flashing. Neighbors started appearing at windows. Darius's heart sank, but his training kicked in. He'd been through this before, not here, but enough times to know the drill. "Monique, take the kids inside. Now!" She grabbed their children and rushed them through the front door. Their daughter was crying. Their son kept asking, "Why are the police here? What did we do?" "Nothing, baby. We didn't do anything," Monique whispered, her voice breaking. Outside, Darius stood in his own driveway with his hands visible, waiting. The officers approached. "We got a call about suspicious activity. Someone reported people moving furniture. Said it didn't look right. Do you live here?" Darius's jaw tightened. "Yes, sir. This is my home." I can show you the deed. Can you prove it? That question. Can you prove it? Prove you own your own home. Prove you belong in your own driveway. Prove you're not a criminal. Darius pulled out his folder, the one he kept easily accessible because deep down he'd known this might happen. Purchase agreement. Deed with his name. Driver's license matching the address. Mortgage documents. Everything organized, ready, because this is what black homeownership sometimes requires. The body cam footage captured the entire encounter. A man standing in his own driveway, proving to police that he had the right to be there. One of the officers looked increasingly uncomfortable. This wasn't a real call. This was someone weaponizing 911 because they didn't like the color of their new neighbor's skin. "Sir, I apologize," the officer finally said. "We have to respond to calls. You're clearly the homeowner. You're free to go. Free to go on his own property, in his own driveway." The police cars pulled away. The neighbors disappeared from their windows. And Darius stood there, feeling the weight of a dream that suddenly felt fragile. This happens every day in America. Black families questioned. Black homeowners treated as trespassers. Black success seen as suspicious. Have you witnessed it? Have you stayed silent when you should have spoken up? Drop a comment, because silence is a choice, and this family deserved better. What Darius and Monique didn't know was that someone had been filming. A passerby walking their dog had recorded the entire police encounter on their phone. That night, they posted the video to social media with a simple caption. This black firefighter had to prove he owns his own home. In 2023, this is America. By Monday morning, the video had 2 million views. By Tuesday, it was everywhere. CNN, local Charlotte news stations, NPR, The Washington Post. Social media exploded with people sharing their own stories. Black doctors questioned in hospital parking lots. Black professors asked for ID in their own offices. Black families followed in stores. The comment sections filled with rage, sadness, and unfortunately, recognition. Too many people knew this experience. Too many families had lived this moment. But here's what happened next, and this is important. Support poured in. Neighbors who'd stayed silent during the police encounter started showing up at the Carter's door. Meals, welcome notes, apologies. We should have come outside. We're ashamed we didn't say something. We see you now, and we're sorry it took this. Petitions circulated within the HOA demanding Clifford Barnes resign. Parents organized meetings. The local NAACP got involved. And suddenly, Willow Creek Estates was having the conversation it should have had years ago. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It took a viral video for people to find their courage. It took national attention for neighbors to knock on the door. Sometimes it takes the whole world watching for the people right next door to finally see you. Darius and Monique had a choice to make. They could pack up, leave, protect their children from a community that failed them, or they could stay and fight to make it better. Not just for themselves, but for every black family who'd come after them. They chose to stay, and they chose purpose over bitterness. 1 week after the video went viral, Clifford Barnes released a public statement. "I made assumptions based on prejudice I didn't even realize I had. I caused harm to the Carter family on what should have been a joyful day. I am deeply sorry, and I am stepping down as HOA president effective immediately. I have work to do on myself. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough. But it was a start." Willow Creek Estates organized a town hall on implicit bias and community unity. They invited the Carters to speak. Darius and Monique spent 3 days deciding whether to accept. Finally, they agreed. The community center was packed. Neighbors who'd watched from windows. Families who'd stayed silent. People who wanted to do better but didn't know how. Darius stood at the podium, Monique beside him, and spoke words that would echo far beyond that room. "I've been a firefighter for 15 years. I've run into burning buildings in this community to save lives. I've pulled people from car wrecks. I've given CPR to strangers. But I couldn't move a couch into my own driveway without being seen as a threat. That's not about me. That's about us. That's about what we've been taught to fear and what we need to unlearn." Monique took the microphone next. Our children watched their father get questioned by police on our own lawn. They asked me what they did wrong. I had to tell them they did nothing wrong, that the wrongness was in how people saw them. Our children shouldn't have to prove they belong in their own home. The room fell silent. Some people cried. Others shifted uncomfortably. But everyone listened. One neighbor stood up. I watched from my window. I did nothing. I'm ashamed and I'm sorry. What can we do differently? Another spoke. We can show up. We can say something. We can choose courage over comfort. The local police department announced mandatory implicit bias training. The HOA revised its policies. A welcome committee was formed to personally greet every new family moving in. Real change requires uncomfortable conversations. And Willow Creek was finally having them. So here's my question for you. Would you have spoken up? Would you have come outside? Would you have knocked on that door before the video went viral? Be honest in the comments, because this community had to look in the mirror and ask themselves the same thing. 6 months later, Darius and Monique launched something remarkable. Home is where the heart is, a nonprofit dedicated to helping minority families navigate homeownership discrimination. They offered legal support, documentation preparation, bias reporting systems, and community education. They partner with real estate associations, police departments, and HOA boards across North Carolina. The irony wasn't lost on them. Their worst day had become their greatest purpose. Within months, they'd helped over 40 families facing similar situations. A black doctor questioned while viewing homes in Raleigh. A Latino family denied HOA approval despite meeting every requirement. An Asian American couple followed by security in their own neighborhood. Each story different, each story the same. They created a toolkit called Know Your Rights as a Homeowner. Everything they wished they'd had that Saturday morning. How to document encounters, who to contact, what the law says, how to protect yourself and your family. Their kids got involved too. Their daughter designed awareness posters for school. Their son handed out flyers at community events. The Carters were teaching their children that injustice isn't the end of the story, that action, purpose, and courage can transform pain into power. And Willow Creek? It transformed too. Slowly, imperfectly, but genuinely. Neighbors now personally greet new families on moving day. The HOA holds quarterly diversity forums. The Welcome Committee brings meals and offers help. It's not perfect. Change never is, but it's happening. The Carters still live in that house. Their dream home is truly theirs now, not because they addressed change, but because the community did. Darius said it best in a recent interview. We could have left. We could have taken our pain and moved somewhere else. But running doesn't change the system. Staying, speaking up, and demanding better, that changes everything. Here's the truth that the Carter story forces us to confront. This isn't just about one family in one neighborhood. This is about every black family who's had to prove they earned what they own. Every person of color who's been seen as suspicious in their own space. Every time someone stayed silent when they should have spoken up, Darius and Monique turned humiliation into transformation. They turned injustice into awareness. They showed us that dignity and courage can change not just one community, but spark conversations across an entire nation. But here's what we need to understand. It shouldn't take viral videos for neighbors to see humanity. It shouldn't take national news for people to knock on doors. It shouldn't take public shame for communities to choose inclusion. The real question is what the Carters did. They did everything right. They bought a home. They raised their family. They responded with grace and purpose, even when the world failed them. The real question is, what will you do? Will you speak up when you see injustice, even when cameras aren't rolling? Will you welcome new neighbors before they have to prove they belong? Will you choose courage over comfort, even when it's hard? If this story challenged you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that matter, stories that force us to be better. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, especially if they've never had to prove they belong in their own home. And comment below, be honest. What would you have done? Would you have come outside? Would you have said something? Would you have been the neighbor the Carters needed that day? Because here's the final truth. The Carters turned their worst moment into a movement. They chose transformation over bitterness. They chose purpose over pain. Now the question is, what will you do with your privilege? Your voice, your moment to choose courage? Don't wait for the viral video. Don't wait for the headlines. Choose to see people. Choose to speak up. Choose to be the neighbor, the community member, the human being that everyone deserves. The Carters showed us the way. Now it's our turn to follow. Have you or someone you know experienced housing discrimination? Share your story. Backhand index pointing down, we're listening.